Hey guys, what's going on? This is Tev, and I thought today I would show you guys how I made my new track, Sunshine, which is now available on all streaming platforms. The intro sounds like this. Let me just tell you everything that's going on here. So you've got these. I started the track with these chords, and they were the main inspiration for everything that happened here. So I have them filtered. If I go into the MIDI, you can see key of C. I use Nexus, piano, cheap piano. It was a random preset. I've got delay going in stereo, reverb, and master filter on it to sort of control the effects. Coming through channel 2, I have a sound godizer on it, FL Studio sound godizer, parametric EQ, and then I also have growth speed on it, which gives it the sidechain effect. But I have that automated. As you can see right here, I have it automated so that it's off right now. It's off during the break, but then in the drop, I bring the growth speed or sidechain up, so it makes that choo choo sound. So, for example, I'll show you. You can hear now it's just making it's more groovy. But meanwhile, if I put it down, it doesn't have that wave effect. You've got this hat loop I got from Splice, vocal, which I pitched up. The original vocal sounded like this. I'll be your sunshine. You see the sea, I'll see the sunshine. And because that wasn't in the right key, I decided to pitch it up 4 semitones, so now it's in the right key. And that's basically all that's going on in the intro. We have a bit of automation clips to control volume and to control the filter. Also for the growth speed, you've got an effect coming up here. And it's a transitional effect to let the listener know that there's something else coming. So you have this second part of the song where I introduce some chords and I introduce the kick, make it more groovy. So I start off with the chords. So those are actually 2 pianos that I put together. One of the pianos is focusing more on the mids and highs, such as this one. And then one that focuses more on the lows and the lower mids. So both of them have reverb on it and a little bit of filter. They've got sidechain, as you can hear. Sidechain. If I turn it down, you can hear that makes a difference. And then you've got, I EQ'd it so that the lows wouldn't be getting in the way. I cut all the lows out. Put a sound godizer on it so that it would sound a little bit more big. And I also put another EQ on it to cut everything else that I didn't want. And another grow speed to add like a cool effect. You hear it goes like meow meow. Without it. I gotta take it off this other piano too. Then with it, you hear that effect. And I liked it, so I kept it on here. And then you've got this other loop that I added. And then you've got this down sweep that I also put on a grow speed side chain. So all together, you've got these. Then I have this cool little bass effect here. You can barely hear it, but it sort of adds a bit more fullness to the track. And introduces the bass in a very slight way. You've got the vocal again. You've got this pattern just repeating for the next 8 bars. The same hat loop, the vocal, and I have the vocal also an octave down too. Add more fullness to the track. You can't hear it that well, but you can definitely tell that without it, it sounds a little bit plain and empty. You have a kick too. Without the low vocal. You got the build up. Sample. I sort of modified it. Another down sweep. Impact. I usually add multiple impacts and stuff together. It's actually a trick that a signed spinning record producer told me, and it actually helps a lot when trying to fill in some space. And that I also have the pianos from earlier. They're now filtered, and they're being filtered by this automation clip here, so that it wouldn't interfere with the drop. And I usually always filter any sort of chords when the build-up arrives, so that the drop will be as powerful as it needs to be. And I also reduce the filter that was on the main plucks in the beginning, so that you can sort of be reintroduced to a drop melody. Got some risers. You've got that. Snare roll. I added some rides on the second half of the build-up. I also added this noise lip filler. It helps fill up the space, and it brings more energy, I feel, to the song. So that's the drop. So I'll take it step by step. I added this pluck. It has a lot of reverb, some sidechain and automation to it, and delay, which pans left and right, alongside the main one, the main pluck here. Together. And I've sort of made that one have less attack so that you can punch through more, compressed it. And then you've got this bass, which I think is what makes the track stand out a little bit more. They're all side chained. This is an E bass, sub bass, and this is a cello bass. And so I use these three basses for the drop, but I also added another gross beat automations for it to switch between sort of different types of grooves, because I thought it was just too basic just having the bass be side chained, and I thought that it'd be nice to have a little groove, so I ended up doing this. Let's get rid of these. It sort of changes the groove of the entire song just with these two automations here. Now you've got this. So that's at the side chain. So you've got that now. Let's add some percussion. You've got the kick. Got a whole bunch of percussion going on here. You've got kicks, you've got random percussion, you've got hats, you have claps, and then I have two crash cymbals because one wasn't enough. And I thought this one would add some more power to this, just make it a little bit more filling. And then I've got this hum. It's very, very quiet, but it helps to fill in some empty space. And I have it fully panned to stereo. And then you've got this white noise impact filler going down and sort of filling out the entire drop. On its own, and all together, this was a little sample that I took. Helps to keep it interesting. And then here you have a little effect to help introduce the second half of the drop. And here I turned down the reverb for a few of the plucks so that it wouldn't get in the way of this effect here. And for the second half of the drop, I added this big fat cymbal. I also added more panning for the hum, which you can barely hear. Added the second vocal. I also added that crash again. Oh yeah, and I also added this. A little bit of foley, but it sort of hypes up the energy just a little bit more, even though you can barely hear it. And then I have this guitar rhythm. Keeps the track interesting overall, and then you have this piano punch, which is basically the chords from earlier in the break, but I cut this specific chord out. Without it, this is what it sounds like. With it, adds a lot more power. Last but not least, I have this which are all it is some strings going across, holding the root note of the chord A, and then I make it a little bit more interesting by adding the second one, that second note holding a C. I thought it just made the track a little bit more interesting and more atmospheric. Without it, with it, makes a huge difference. So yeah, that's essentially the song. I have a few other miscellaneous transitions that I used. Right there, gated riser. I also used, I sort of have a different build up going on here for the second half. And then you have this. So then the second drop goes like this. You have the risers. You've got that cymbal, and then you also have this. And this was the vocal before. Hey. And I pitched it up a full octave, so it sounded like this. And I did it again on the second half of the second drop. You have pads going up, they're filtered, but they're becoming less and less filtered. So yeah, that's basically the track and all of its glory. There are so many other things I could have talked about or spoken about. I have many different filters, many other plugins on it, but this was the end result of the track before mastering. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and if you'd like to see more behind the scenes of how I create my other tracks like Risen and The Midst, and some of my older ones, or if you want to see some new ones behind the scenes, etc., all the above, live streams, anything really, please let me know. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. Any questions, leave them in the comment section below, and as always, stay chill and keep vibin'. It's actually the first time I said that, but I think I'm gonna keep that a thing. I like it. Stay chill and stay vibin'.